How is everybody doing tonight? Lots to talk about at Married at First Sight this week. I want to hear from all of you watching out there. Let me know your thoughts on all of our couples. As always, we will go through couple by couple tonight, talk about what we saw, how I feel about each of them, and that's just sort of how we do it around here. So I'm a little torn about who to talk about first this week. So I think we're just going to start at Eric and Virginia. For those of you that have been watching my other videos, you'll know I'm not a huge fan of this couple, and I don't really feel like any of my thoughts or opinions changed this week. You know, we started off with that little clip of Virginia's sister coming over with the kids, and it was just like this little snapshot and then over. You know, we kind of got to see like her sister ask, "Hey, is it all right that he's around my kids?" And Virginia awkwardly not really know how to answer the question. And then we didn't get anything else from it. From there, we jump into their time with the experts. And, they're just, and I would say this more for Eric than Virginia, but they're just very fake around other people. And especially with Eric, that's ramped up to a whole nother level when he sits down with the experts. You know, they're still both trying to sell this perfect picture of their relationship where, you know, us watching at home and the experts who at least talk to production know that that is not the case. You know, they have some major issues that, in my opinion, aren't going to be resolved within 2 weeks, which makes things very difficult for them to actually say yes on decision day. One thing I noticed from the experts is it seemed like they were trying to fix Virginia, and I really didn't like that. I didn't like Pastor Cal trying to convince Virginia to have kids. You know, that's her decision. If she has valid fears, which from what we've heard, she does, that, you know, she really needs to feel totally comfortable with her partner before making a decision on whether or not she wants to have kids. And I don't see anything wrong with that. She wants to raise kids in a loving home, in a family where both the parents are going to be there. And at this point, she doesn't know if that's going to happen with her or Eric. And until she does, she's not going to make that decision. But here we see Pastor Cal trying to convince her that, you know, she should change her opinion and she should have kids. And, you know, not every couple wants or needs to have kids. That's just the way it is. I didn't like seeing that tonight, and a little disappointed by Pastor Cal that he would kind of try to push that on her when really it's been something that she's struggled with on the start, and in my opinion needs to work through on her own time. Eric with Dr. Pepper, he says he doesn't want to fight, but yet he always refuses to be wrong. You know, we've seen this over and over. Like, he starts these topics and Virginia doesn't agree. So then it's, well, you either do this or I'm done. You know, he drops an ultimatum. He says whatever he doesn't like is not cool with him, and it has to go. You know, he's been like that all season long, and shockingly, that's not going to change anytime soon. Honestly, it felt to me like he was just straight up lying to Dr. Pepper, like trying to just put on this persona of perfection and all that he's doing, that just comes off as extremely fake. And as I said earlier, yeah, he's got a whole separate persona for talking to the experts. You know, just like me tonight, he's got his glasses on so that he looks really refined and sophisticated, which obviously I totally do tonight. You know, every other video I make with no glasses, you know, now I'm a slovenly pig. I put these glasses on refined gentleman with all the answers in the world. Then we get back to post meeting with the experts, Virginia and Eric, and their conversation actually started off very well. But if you noticed, they were just going like point for point about what the experts told them to say, what the experts told them to talk about. And then as soon as we hit the point in the conversation where they ran out of scripted things to say from the experts, all of a sudden that conversation takes a turn for the worse, and they just immediately start to fall back into that same rut that they've been in all season long. At this point, I don't know if this couple is going to make it, but I am hoping they don't, because I just see long term, this is a couple doomed for failure. You know, they're talking about how all the little things are great, but all the big things are wrong. Like they only fight about the big things. And to me, you know, you can get over those little things. You can make some compromises on those little things, but the big things, you're asking for big concessions to be made by the other person in that relationship. And that's potentially leading to something that will at least lead to resentment in that relationship. And ultimately, in my opinion, is a recipe for failure. All right, let's move on. Let's jump to Brianna and Vincent. Last week, they were just like pretty much not even on the show. They didn't even appear. We have got like a couple little snippets with them, so it was good to see them at least get a nice share of the screen time tonight. I kind of get the feeling like we're waiting for the shoe to drop on that couple. We're waiting for, the bad thing to happen, for their big conflict. And I just have that feeling when I watch them. We see lots of really good things with Brianna and Vincent. They seem like they get along together. They're a great couple. They have positive things to say about each other. They seem very happy for the majority of their relationship. But then we see Vincent get into his little funk like he did at the end of the episode, where the conversation after meeting with the experts didn't go Vincent's way, and all of a sudden he looks like he's fuming, and I'm sitting there wondering, is this going to be another thing for Champagne Vinny to pop off on? I don't know. So hopefully it doesn't end that way, but that's just the feeling I get with this couple. They had this scene where they're working through their budget together, and it just felt so awkward to me. Like you could just tell, like Vincent doesn't want to spend anything, and Brianna wants to spend everything. And that's a little bit of exaggeration, but that's the vibe that they're sending out. And clearly they definitely butt heads on the budget making. And I found that frustrating to watch, because for me, there's definitely areas in there that they could have compromised on, instead of whatever it was, $400 on entertainment, cut that back to $300 and say, all right, we're now taking $100 from here that we're going to put into savings, or we're going to put into our home, whatever it is, something that, so Brianna gets something that she wants, maybe not everything she wants, and Vincent gets something he wants, but maybe not everything he wants. That's called a compromise. I just don't think they see eye to eye at all when it comes to finances. I'm not sure what the root of that is, and I'm not sure that we're going to find out before the end of the season. They only have 2 weeks left of marriage. I don't know how many episodes that translates to, but maybe not enough time to solve that issue. The final thing for Brianna and Vincent was having kids, and Brianna has concerns about actually being pregnant and having a child. And I think her concerns were very valid. And I don't think that she presented them to Vincent in a way that really reflected how she feels. You know, she has high blood pressure. Being pregnant is going to cause that blood pressure to go even higher, and she's worried about what complications there's going to be in a pregnancy. And from Vincent's point of view, he hears her talk about that and thinks, well, instead of waiting, you should just have a kid now. And the whole thing is that she's scared. She's very much scared to go through that, and with good reason. And I don't think that she very well represented herself in that conversation to express how she really feels, because if Vincent is this kind person that we keep hearing about, when Brianna truly expresses herself and her fears on the topic, I think that he would understand. And if he doesn't, then maybe he's not that kind, loving person that you think. All right, let's move on to another couple. How about we'll just quickly hit Haley and Jacob. Honestly, don't have too much to say about them tonight. The first thing I noticed, like we didn't even get any clips or snippets from them pre meeting with the experts. We just see Jacob going in to meet Pastor Cal, and my first thought was, who dressed Jacob? Like, who dressed him today? We haven't seen him wear like a suit jacket and tie, I think, all season long. Outside of the actual wedding, it just didn't feel like Jacob. We need to bring Jacob back onto this show, because I feel like we've lost him through the first 6 weeks of this marriage. You know, he's not there anymore. The guy that we saw back on the honeymoon, he's gone. He's changed. He's no longer there. And it's kind of sad to see. You know, in my opinion, he's making concessions for this marriage. He's trying maybe not enough, but he's trying, whereas Haley, in my opinion, just isn't. You know, we see a flashback to, what was it, 5 days ago, where Jacob didn't give a great answer to one of her questions, and Haley views that as, I'm trying in this relationship and he's not. And even at the end, when she asked that same question again, and Jacob gave the same answer again, but used about 10 more words, she was happy with the answer. And it's kind of sad. Like, she just wants better explanations from him, but not different answers. So very bizarre. Overall, they just have been a bad couple this season. I don't know what can redeem them at this point. 2 weeks left. They have no connection at all whatsoever. They don't even have a friendship. We start to see like little glimpses of what they could have been if they actually tried, only to just know that it's not going to work out. So it's very frustrating to watch. One thing Jacob said when meeting, I think he met with Pastor Cal, that he wants a real answer about why Haley pulled back in Vegas. And honestly, I think that's something that he's never going to get. And if he doesn't get that, it's going to be something that's going to hang in his mind until the end of this relationship. Also very illuminating to see just how separate Haley views herself from Jacob. We did get that little bit of information about how Haley had been in a controlling relationship previously that she doesn't want to ever relive, and that kind of leads to some of her behavior in this relationship. And that kind of tells me that, maybe she's not ready for this yet, or she's going to need a lot longer than 8 weeks to really build into that relationship where she is ready. Maybe she wants to be married, but emotionally just isn't quite there yet. So let's move on from them. to another big couple, and that's Clara and Ryan. It was interesting to see them both go sit down with their experts, and both of them see no issues with their relationships, rating it 10 out of 10. And I'm just sitting there thinking, yeah, you guys definitely got some issues. Like, we have the religion stuff that was brought up at the start of the season and then just never came up again. We have the ongoing lack of sex, which is clearly a major, major, major issue for Clara. And I'm just sitting there thinking, obviously, you two aren't in the same relationship that we're seeing on TV. It was kind of cute seeing Dr. Pepper trying to hint to Ryan that sex was a bigger issue than what he was making it out to be. And another little snippet we got was Ryan has been in relationships over a year long without having sex in them. That just seems very strange to me in this day and age. Maybe he's just super, super, super old fashioned, but I just think that there's a little more going on there than what we see. We also find out that Clara is in love with Ryan, but won't say it. A lot of her behavior right now is not wanting to scare off Ryan, makes her not want to be direct when they're talking about sex, not be direct when they're talking about love. And I'm worried that her not going over those hurdles and instead just waiting behind those hurdles for Ryan to catch up might just make her lose interest in the relationship and maybe eventually not bother going over those hurdles that she was ready for. Overall, like, he just doesn't want to have sex, right? Like, it's the only, like, if he wanted to have sex, they'd be having sex by now, right? Like, he just doesn't want to do it. And when Ryan brings up the topic of sex, I was very disappointed that Clara didn't give him a clear answer. I feel like that's what she needed to do in that situation, because if that wasn't her bringing up sex, this was him bringing up sex, which to me was her best opportunity to fully express herself, and she just didn't do it. I also felt like that when they got back together, they really didn't discuss all the things that they were supposed to from the experts. Just feel like they kind of brushed most of it aside. Like, they kind of brought up sex, but then didn't finish the conversation. But whatever. All right. Our last and least couple, Paige and Chris. Hopefully this is the last time we talk about them until decision day. As soon as I saw their name pop up on the screen, I was just thinking to myself, why? Why are we got to do this again? I love the line from Dr. Pepper that Chris is an extraordinary narcissist. Like, I just absolutely love that, and that totally 100% pegs him. I do still want to hear the experts apologize to Paige for this match. I don't want to hear them say, oh, we thought it was going to be a great match. I just want straight up for them to apologize for making a bad match. Like, that doesn't seem too hard for me. It was nice to see Dr. Pepper kind of go off about Chris a little bit, but still, she deserves that apology, and I think she deserves a second chance. I don't know how everybody else feels out there. Chris shows up late to his meeting with Pastor Cal. That's like a perfect picture of who he is. So narcissistic, so self-centered, can't even show up on time to one meeting. Chris boils down their relationship to he just wasn't attracted to her. Just disgusting, in my opinion. I look at Chris and he is not an attractive man. Like, he just isn't. He thinks that having money is being attractive, and he's just not. He just isn't. He's the worst looking dude on the season, and Paige definitely isn't the least attractive woman on this season. So, put those together. He's delusional. he's narcissistic. It's just bizarre. Like, what is wrong with this dude? And like, we got all sorts of things in that little interview. He's trying to blame the experts. Just so bizarre. Like, it's their fault. He's like, oh, there's millions of hot chicks in Atlanta. Why couldn't have you got me one of them? What? He's like, no, you were not in this from the start. You said that you were still in love with your ex. You got your ex pregnant. You bought your ex a car. You did a lot more for your ex than you did for Paige this season. And that just says that you weren't in it. You were not in it at any point in time. I don't even think it would have mattered who they matched you with. Your best chance of finding a marriage in this situation was with Paige, because she was willing to give it a shot even after presented with all of the terrible, terrible things about Chris. So it's hard to watch him and Paige at all anymore. I liked hearing him say that he handled things to the best of his ability, but he could have done things differently. Hey, Chris, that's called not handling things to the best of your ability. If you had, there wouldn't have been things that you could have done better. Also hearing him that he refuses to apologize to her, just disgusting. I'm so over this guy, and I really hope that we get a few weeks with no Chris. That would be so good for the show, so good for these other couples, just for them to get some airtime, get some attention. We don't need Chris on this show any longer. Let's erase him from the rest of the season and move on. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap things up for me this week. This was a long one. I think my longest video of the season. As always, thank you so much for watching. And if anybody made it to the end here, I really appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing everything that you have to say about all these couples in the comments, and also look forward to seeing you again next week. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.